All right, here's some help on quiz number 2. So your actual quiz question is on the right and the example is on the left that I'm going to go through. So if I give you, or if they give you a graph and they're giving you some equations and saying which of these equations is being graphed here, what you want to do is first off pick some points on the graph. And the easiest ones to pick, if it goes through at exactly right on the grid line for the x and y intercept, those are the easiest ones because the x-intercept here is over 5 up 0. So it has a 0, and that's what makes it helpful and easier to do. The y-intercept is over 0 up 4. So again, there's a 0 there, which makes it easy to substitute in. So what we're going to do, what these points, all of the points on the graph, all of these points represent coordinates, x's and y's, that if you substitute into the equation, they should be a true statement. So let's look at the first equation here. I'm going to substitute in the first point. So when x is 5, y is 0, and see if it's true. So wherever there's an x, I'm going to put a 5. So it'd be 5 times 5 plus, and wherever there's a y, I'm going to put a 0. And I want to see if that equals 9. So let's see. 5 times 5 is 25. 4 times 0 is 0. Is 25 plus 0 9? No. So that means that this point, 5, 0, is not one of the solutions for this equation. So this cannot be a graph of this equation here because this graph includes the point 5, 0. So we know the answer is the second one, but let's just test it out and make sure. So I'm going to put in 5 for x, so it's 4 times 5 plus, and I'm going to put in 0 for y. 5 times 0. And I want to see if that equals 20. So let's test it out. 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 0 is 0. Is 20 plus 0 20? Yes. So that means that this point works. Then you want to test out the other point. So let's put in x is 0, y is 4. So I'm going to rewrite the equation, but wherever there's an x, I'm going to put 0. So it's 4 times 0 plus 5 times, wherever there's a y, I'm going to put a 4, equals 20. So now let's see if that's true. 4 times 0 is 0. 5 times 4 is 20. 0 plus 4 equals 20. Yes. So these 2 points, 5, 0 and 0, 4, are both on the graph. And both of those points, if I substitute it into this second equation, both of these points end up making that equation true. So this is the equation that is being graphed right here. All right, let's look at this one. So on the right here, you are given a graph. And it has an open dot here at 2, and then it's being shaded, everything bigger than 2. So everything greater than 2, but not equal to 2. So they're giving you 2 different inequalities, and what you need to do is solve both of those and see which one gives you everything greater than 2, or x is greater than 2. Not equal to 2 because it's an open dot. So all you're doing is solving those inequalities. So I'm going to go over an example here on the left of solving some inequalities. When you solve inequalities, it's just like solving an equation. You're moving things away from the variable. You always move what's added or subtracted first. So first I'm going to add 7. And the difference with inequalities is if you have to multiply or divide by a negative number to solve it, then you flip the sign. In that first step, all I did was add. So my inequality symbol stays the same. Now I'm going to divide by 5 to undo this multiplying by 5. I divided by a positive number, so my inequality symbol stays the same. So you would look at the graph and see if that's what's being graphed. Now let's try the next one. This one does have a negative, a couple of negatives, so let's see what happens. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides again. Always move away from the x, what's being added or subtracted first. So I have negative 4x, and then this is 16. Adding again does not flip the sign. But for this step, I need to divide by a negative 4. If you have to divide by a negative number to solve it, then this symbol was less than. Now it's going to be greater than or equal to. I flip the sign. And the answer would be negative 4. Okay? So just solve each of these and see which one gives you x is greater than 2, because that's what's being graphed. Okay, the next several problems are just definitions. When you are doing these sort of tests, you need to either take a snapshot of the definitions that are at the top of the lesson or write it down in a notebook. That way you can refer to it when you're taking a quiz or test. So for this one, you're just going to look through each of these and see which one matches this as the definition. Same here. Which one of these matches this as the definition? I just took this directly from the lesson. Same here. Which one matches this as the definition? Easy. They're giving you the definitions. Again, which one matches this as the definition? Look at the definitions they're giving you. Sorry, I think there was one more. Yep, here we go. This one I had to take the definitions from 2 different lessons, but I just put those here. Which one matches this definition? All right. So there's one other problem that they have for you that you missed. And the first step is to find the discriminant of this quadratic equation. And what the discriminant tells you is how many solutions the graph is going to have. So it kind of gives you a sense of what the graph's going to look like. There's going to be 2 solutions where it crosses the x-axis in 2 places. There's going to be 1 solution where it touches the x-axis in 1 place, or if there's going to be no solutions where it doesn't cross the x-axis at all. So it gives you a sense of what your graph's going to look like. This is what the discriminant looks like. This is what we're trying to figure out. And what you need to know is that the number in front of the x squared is the a, the number in front of the x is the b, and the number at the end is the c. So in this case, a is 2, b is 7, and c is negative 4. I'm just looking at the number in front of the x squared, the number in front of the x squared, and the number, or the x, and the number at the end. Once you know what a, b, and c are, you substitute it into this formula, b squared minus 4 times a times c. So b squared, b is 7, so it's 7 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is negative 4. So all you need to do now is simplify this. So 7 squared, so that's 7 times 7, which is 49. And then minus 4 times 2 times negative 4. So negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Times negative 4 is positive 32. And then the last step then is to add them. So 49 plus 32 is 81. So once you calculate what the discriminant is, it says you need to determine if it is greater than 0, which 81 is greater than 0. So that means that there's going to be two solutions. If it was less than 0, then it would have no solutions. If it was equal to 0, it would have one solution. So here I would put a 2, and here I would put an 81. Okay? The next step with this is a 3-part question, is for you to actually solve it. So I'm just going to go through this same example. Remember, the A is what's in front of the x squared, the B is what's in front of the x, and the C is what's in front of, or what's dangling at the end with no variable. So this is the quadratic formula. Lots of steps to this. I want you to give it a shot. The first step is just to substitute in your A, B, and C. So it says negative B. Well, my B is 7, so I have negative 7. Plus or minus B squared. So that's 7 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 4. All of that divided by 2 times A, so 2 times 2. Now I'm going to start simplifying this. So I'm going to do my exponents first, so everything stays the same, but instead of 7 squared, I'm going to write 49. And then 4 times 2 times negative 4. Everything else stayed the same. Now I'm going to do my multiplying. So I still have my 49, but minus 4 times 2 times negative 4 is positive 32. And in my denominator, I have 2 times 2, which is 4. Now I'm going to add what's underneath my square root. 49 plus 32 is 81, and then this is 4. So now I can take the square root. What is the square root of 81? What number can you multiply by itself and get 81? 9, because 9 times 9 is 81. And then the very last step, because now we say that it's negative 7 plus 9 divided by 4, so negative 7 plus 9 divided by 4, or negative 7 minus 9 divided by 4. So you just want to see what each of these are. Negative 7 plus 9 is 2, divided by 4 is 2/4, or 1/2. And then negative 7 minus 9 is negative 16, divided by 4, which is negative 4. So my two answers would be 1/2 and negative 4. Again, that's a lot of steps, but give it your best shot. And that is it for this quiz. So if you want to just email me or message me what your answers are, then you don't necessarily have to retake it, or you can just go back and retake it on your own. So either way works for me.